Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another thrilling installment of the Weebs of the Ring podcast. As you see, we have a different setting for tonight. We are not joined by Vash, but I do have another guest with us. Drop will be here very shortly. So, without further ado, as you guys are coming in, welcome to the chat. Welcome any, continued viewers of the Weebs of the Ring podcast. But if you are new here, well, who are we exactly? Well, with anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we normally are a trio of weebs, but tonight we're going to be a duo of weebs, and we love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience like none other. Brought to you by Animal We Studios. This is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Like I said, I am your world champion, Whawkins, and joining us back from Kineticon, we have Drop This Box. Drop, how you doing tonight, and how was your weekend?
Doing pretty good. Kineticon was a lot of fun. I have a video dropping tomorrow, so if people want to hear my overall experience there, be sure to check out that video because I go over the things I got and I also talk about my overall experience. But it's just good to be back.
Oh, I bet, dude. After coming back from a con, like you kind of reach a state where it's just like, okay, I'm back, and like I'm relaxed a little bit, but then you're kind of like, oh wait, crap, I have to go back to reality now.
Exactly.
Like, oh, it kind of sucks, but
I mean, I wish it
it.
lasted forever, but it doesn't.
I know, dude. Like that's how I felt when I came back from MomoCon. I'm like, man, I miss everybody. I miss being around everybody. I miss being in that environment. Like, God, take me back sooner rather than later. But again, if you guys want to hear everything that happened at Kineticon, go to the link down in the description below. Subscribe to Drop. He drops, videos every single day on anything cartoon related, sometimes horror related, sometimes video game related. Check it
Mm-hmm.
out. It's all great, awesome content. But we're not here for that, unfortunately. We're here to talk about the wrestling. We're here to talk about the Graps. It's Monday. We got done with Raw. A quick 3 hours, at least for me. I don't know about you,
I'm
but
just glad it was over. I mean, it's hard to put through like 3 hours of that.
it is sometimes. But again, like tonight wasn't too bad. It wasn't terrible. You know, I
No, it
mean,
wasn't
we're
that bad.
getting yeah, nah, it wasn't. But I mean, we're slowly building to SummerSlam and all that. But as with every Monday, we don't want to waste any time. We just want to get right into it. So our headline story tonight: CM Punk is cleared. Finally, after months of being on the shelf from his injury, he's finally cleared to fight. He's gonna face Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. But not only that, we have a nice little twist with Seth Rollins being the special guest referee. Drop, how we feeling about all this?
I mean, I had a feeling it was going to happen down the line only because you have to get Seth involved somehow in SummerSlam because you're not going to have
Hmm.
SummerSlam without Seth Rollins involved, especially with what happened at Money in the Bank. So you have to include him in this thing. And it also adds like more to the match as well because you never really know who's going to come out on top of this. You don't know if Seth is going to side with Drew, he's going to side with Punk.
Hmm.
So it just makes the match unpredictable, and it's just a very good spot to have Punk. I mean, not Punk, Seth overall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of the same with Punk too, because like, I mean, this feud's been boiling for again for months on end, especially from mainly from Drew's side, from him just kind of trolling Punk a little bit, but like Punk, has screwed Drew McIntyre over plenty of times, but having Seth in the middle of this, I mean, I'm sure people are gonna not like this because Seth doesn't have a match for SummerSlam, but I don't know. I like it because he has history with both men, and he's gonna do something at SummerSlam, and neither man is gonna like what he does, even if he does try to call it down the middle. But I do like how we got to this point because like as soon as we heard okay, CM Punk, he's gonna be here on Raw, he's gonna talk his stuff, talk his shit, and all that, and I was surprised because Drew McIntyre showed up like backstage. I guess he finally apologized to those referees that he wronged back in the day. Um, so yeah, he's here. I get, again, I guess he apologized. He's getting his match with Punk, and they almost had a fight tonight. Like they had to bring out like all the refs and all like the producers and all that to really just kind of back Punk off a little bit. So I like how we're keeping the feud just very angry, very hot, very what's the word I'm looking for? Like we're just keeping the momentum going with it, and especially with Punk now cleared to compete, we're actually going to get a match and we're actually going to get some sort of fallout from all of this. Um, but I like how he led up to this, just being like, you know what, the bay is green, my shoes are pink, and as soon as he said, let's stain them both with the blood of a Scottish psycho, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna announce he's cleared. I can't wait for this. Um, I don't know, Drop. How'd you feel about like just this whole segment of because like that's the thing, it's like you have this tension that you could just cut with a knife and like just Drew walking out there, you could just feel it. You could feel the energy of these two just like wanting to fight, and especially Punk who like ran after Drew. Like I don't know, man. That they're doing a really good job of like keeping this feud very hot. Uh-oh. Um,
I don't know. I'm sorry, I had something
no,
going
you're
on.
fine. No, you're good. You're good. You're
But
good.
to give my just quick thoughts on
Mhm.
this segment right here. I mean, I'm glad it's being set up. So now we know that Punk is cleared. So now he's able to wrestle again, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we can finally see like what's going to happen between the both of them, because this has been a match that's been brewing ever since January. So it's nice
Mhm.
that things are going to be coming together at SummerSlam and probably two other pay-per-views as well, because I don't see it ending at SummerSlam.
Yeah. And I mean, especially for Punk side because
I feel like Drew's
he
getting the win on SummerSlam.
oh, really? You think Drew's gonna get okay? What? Okay, why do you think Drew's gonna get the win? I'm actually curious about this. Wow,
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
didn't
could
even
go
think about
either
that. Okay.
way. It could go
Hmm.
either way, really. But I could sort of see like Drew get the win only because I feel like Seth is probably going to try to screw over Punk some way, considering that he costed him a world title opportunity. So it kind of makes me think in a way that even though Seth could go either way with the both of them, it just
Hmm.
makes me feel deep down inside he might try to return the favor to Punk. So then that ends up adding more tension between the both of them. But it honestly
Hmm.
could go either way. I mean, at the very least, I do expect there to be at least 3 matches between these two.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, because that's interesting. Because like the way I've been kind of seeing it is like because I mean because here's the thing, it's like this is Punk's first like televised match in WWE, like not Royal Rumble based at all. So it's like okay, um, do you have him go over? Do you have him lose and all that? It's like, okay, well, you can, just like you said, and I could see that possibility, with like, especially if it's like Seth screwing over Punk and all that. But I don't know. It's just like it's hard to really say that because it's like again, this is Punk's first like televised singles match in WWE. It's against Drew McIntyre, and like he does have reason to go after Punk, and like we could build seeds or like plant seeds and all that for the Seth Rollins feud and everything. But like, I don't know, man. I can I can still see like CM Punk pulling out the win a little bit, maybe some sort of cheeky action with Seth in the match could be a thing. Um, I don't know because like the way I see like Punk and like Seth's rivalry or like kind of starting off a little bit. I kind of want to start it when it started off cold like this. Like, okay, yeah, he screwed. Like, he was kind of involved with Seth not winning the title back and all that. But like, you can kind of build upon that very slowly, being like, okay, well, don't have them like screw each other over. Just have them just like not like each other. Like, oh, their paths keep crossing here and there, but like nothing like too physical or like too cutthroat yet. At least until maybe, God, I want to say like Royal Rumble time or something. But I'm excited to see how Seth like is as a referee, like because I don't think we've gotten that with Seth yet. But I'm looking forward to how he conducts himself as a referee. Conducting, pun intended, of course. Um, but I also like this caveat too of how if Punk or Drew get physical with each other in any way, shape, or form between now and SummerSlam, uh, like whoever threw the first punch is suspended. Like it's done, it's over with, no match. Like they'll be gone for a bit. I do like how we have that little story wrinkle going on with this rivalry and like with this match and all that. So I think that's going to play very well leading into it, and especially with like only 1 week left on Raw, like one Raw left for these guys. And apparently next week we're getting some sort of segment where it's like Seth going over the referee rules. Like, I don't know, Drop. How do you feel that that's gonna go over with like Seth just going over those rules with everybody?
I honestly feel like he's just gonna do one of those typical things he does, where he's just gonna like think of it as like a John Cena situation when he was involved in a
Hmm.
Punk match all those years ago. It's probably gonna be a similar thing where he's gonna try to get into like both of their faces and cause a lot of tension
Oh
between
yeah.
both of them. That's how I honestly see it being played out, because he's gonna want to take out both of their frustration on them. So
Oh
sure, he
yeah.
might go by the rules, maybe, but at the end of the day, I don't really see him sticking to it all the way.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. Like, and actually, before we went live on Twitter, I saw somebody share a clip of a time where John Cena was a special guest referee, and he had pushed Punk down for some reason. Like, I don't know why. This was around the time where I wasn't really watching. And I think Wade Bear was in the ring too. I think it was like a match between Wade and Punk, but like Cena just like pushed Punk down and he like rolled to the corner and all that. And some like the caption was, "I hope they recreate this with Seth Rollins." So I'm kind of hoping they do as well. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, like I'm glad Punk is now cleared to wrestle. He's cleared to get physical and get more physical and all that. Um, okay, hold on. No, no, do not make Raw 5 hours. Please don't make Raw five
Who
hours.
said
I
that?
uh a certain presidential candidate, quote unquote, in our
Trump?
chat. Yeah, if I become president again, I will make Monday Night Raw 5 hours. You know what?
Oh, well, I
Please
was
don't.
not expecting to see Trump on here. I mean, I know it's not actual Trump, but
Yeah,
I mean, if
but
anything, he'd probably reduce it back to two.
true. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, see, I don't know. Like, I'm conflicted because, like, part of me, like, because some weeks, like, the 3 hours really aren't too bad, but then there's
Yeah,
other weeks where, like, it does drag.
yeah.
Um,
That's why sometimes when we start our shows, it's like I don't always have the energy because I get sucked through like 3 hours of television.
oh yeah. Well, like that's the thing. That's what I like. So I might get more. I might try to do this a little bit more often. Because I did this tonight because I had to record a video before watching Raw,
Yeah,
and I
and
had
I don't
like
blame you.
40 minutes of commercials to just skip through. So I'm just like, all right, cool. Even though I'm behind by like 40 minutes, I can just skip all these commercials. Like the first 2 hours went by like that, even though I had to deal with a storm, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this match. I can't wait for it. I'm just glad CM Punk's fine, and I'm hoping that like he's fully recovered and fully ready to go. And I'm really excited for this match. I'm hoping it's good, and I'm hoping nothing bad
Happen
happens.
to Punk.
Like, oh yeah, especially the Punk, because I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of people's worries. Is that just like,
That's why I'm wondering how they're going to get to that Hell in a Cell match if it happens. I mean, that's pushing it
yeah,
over the edge there.
yeah. And I mean that's just the thing. It's just like no matter the result, we can still get to that. Because like whether Punk gets through it, because Drew can still be like, oh, I was cheated because Seth Rollins, blah blah blah, or even the other way around, because like Drew still has like that bracelet of CM Punk's family and all that, like with his dog and with um AJ's like names on it. So like Punk can still try to get revenge on all that too. But I don't know. I'm just I'm ready for this match. I'm ready for the first match, so hopefully we can get to the Hell in a Cell match. But I don't know about you. I don't have anything else to say
No, those are all
other
my
than
thoughts.
yeah. I mean, other than I hope Punk is all right, good, ready to go. So, with that being said, let's go ahead on to our main storyline. And as usual, it's got to deal with the Judgment Day because we had a few segments with the Judgment Day, some shenanigans going on and all that. Starting, of course, with Gunther talking about Priest. Gunther waltzes out here, gets booed. Like, this man is getting booed by the crowd just because of like the comments he made last week about Damian Priest. Um, and he's not going back on his words, but Priest just comes out and they just have a fight. Like this isn't too much of a segment other than just physicality. So I don't know. How'd you feel about like this tear apart brawl that went even beyond the beginning segment and like it went
Um,
backstage after the commercial and all that?
I mean, I thought it was all right for what it was. I mean, they had to throw something in there to build to this match, and obviously, it's Gunther attacking how Priest grew up and him trying to look superior, like he's above him and everything like that. That's the whole story,
Hmm.
and that's the whole obstacle that Priest needs to cross. I mean, overcome. So
Yeah.
it's like, I wasn't really like blown away too much with this, if I'm being honest,
Hmm.
because I just looked at it as a segment to build up to the match. But I'm liking how they're at least getting a little physical to just show, just to build off what we saw last week. Because I felt like what we saw last week was just a continuation of this, where it was just all of that frustration being built up, and then they started attacking each other in this match. I mean, the way it seems to me is they're trying to make it seem like Gunther's this person that Priest needs to beat, and it's like they're trying to make it look like it's some underdog story where he won't be able to do it. Which I know
Yeah.
me and you are in the minority because we want Gunther to pull it off, but I'm I'm kind of hoping he
I
gets his moment.
I don't know, man. They're kind of making it convincing in a way, or
Yeah.
like at least with like how the story's going, because that's the thing with like Priest, because he hasn't had a match yet, at least defending the title, where it hasn't ended with somebody interfering or doing something.
Mm.
um so I don't know, but like it's like, do you have Gunther be the first one for Priest to do that with? Like, because Gunther's an insurmountable wall, but like I say that, but then we haven't had Gunther have a match, in a while. So it's like, okay, I'm not saying like the crowd is, dead for Gunther or anything, or, he's not as hot as he used to be, but it's just like, you could, spin it to be like, oh, well, he's just preparing for the world championship title match, all that stuff. But like,
Hmm.
I I don't know. Like they're kind in a way, they're kind of convincing me that okay, maybe Preach could pull it off, maybe he could do it, and like it will move on then to like him and Finn for the title. Now, I say that, and then we get announced tonight that we're getting Finn versus Gunther next week. which, that's happening on live TV. Can't wait for that, to be honest. We were supposed to get that like a while ago, but I'm pretty sure I think it was COVID that ruined that part. So yeah, I mean, it could go either way, but I do like the build that they're doing here. Again, with Priest just trying to prove himself and all that, and trying to be like, uh, I gotta be better than Gunther. Try to be better than this wall that's coming between me and my legacy of the world heavyweight title. But yeah, I mean, not too much with this segment though. Again, it's just like it was a simple beatdown segment. And it was also just kind of Gunther not going back on his words from last week, just being like, I meant when I say, Priest is a pretender, a wannabe, and calls everyone in the Judgment Day just street trash and all that. So yeah, Gunther's getting all that heat, and I love it because Gunther's a great heel and all that. So we're just gonna move on from that segment to another segment that I didn't get to see much of. So I'm gonna be leaning on you mainly for this part. This Rhea, Liv, and Dom segment. So this my satellite went out, so I unfortunately missed this part, and I say unfortunately because Liv, she tried to like tempt Dom, and it didn't work. Dom like shot her down apparently. I had to catch this on YouTube and all that, but like I don't know. I'm gonna defer to you because I'm sure you watched this live
Yeah.
happening. So like I, I'm asking you, Drop, to explain to me how did this all happen? How did this like
I mean,
come about?
pretty much what happened is Rhea wanted to confront Liv for her actions when it came to Dom, and she pretty much took Dom out there. She called Liv. Liv was talking to her from the stands, and Dom pretty much just told her that he wants nothing to do with her, and then she left crying. And I don't know if that was in a way where he was being truthful, or it was like a way to actually have Rhea think he's done with Liv, but in reality, they're still doing things behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And you probably saw the moments where she broke Twitter too. That's also another part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, that's what it was really. And
Hmm.
part of me thinks it's a trick where he's trying to trick Rhea, and then part of me is where I'm thinking maybe it could be legit, but I'm sort of leaning towards the trick.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like because so when I
Because
saw
I will
like
throw this
yeah,
in here. I do see you Liv retaining at SummerSlam. I don't think it's going to be that easy.
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I see Liv
Because
retaining.
if
Yeah.
you think about it like this, the story ends when she gets the title back. Why would you want to have her come back and just get the title like that? You know?
Hmm. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like a lot like the Drew Punk feud. Like this one could go on for a little bit longer and all that. Like it could go to Bad Blood. It could go into a Hell in a Cell and all that. But yeah. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Drop. It's like okay, I could see like the Dom still playing on this, like still like trying to trick Rhea, mainly because like when Rhea like licked his face and all that, which Dom, how dare you? But like when Rhea did that part, he had a face like he was. It looked like he was smiling, but like I don't know. It was hard for me to like trust that smile that he was giving. Um. Uh. But I don't know, man. It's just and then like Liv like immediately started crying like she did. I don't know, dude. It was I get what they were trying to do, and I get like Liv was trying to show that she was upset, but I don't know. I feel like they're still trying to play Rhea a little bit and try to lure her into a false sense of security, or who knows? Maybe Rhea will just squash Liv at SummerSlam, and it's just a 2-minute match, and Liv just drops the title, and that's about it. Um, who knows? I don't know, but well, I guess we'll have to just wait and see with that. I feel like we didn't get a lot for this rivalry tonight, which kind of sucks in a way. But I mean, again, we're still cooking with everything. It can still have legs. I know, like, apparently Rhea isn't fully, um, she hasn't been fully cleared yet for SummerSlam. So it's like, okay, she, where was I going with that? She, so she can't really get too physical right now. So it's like, we can't have like segment like, we had earlier in the night with Damian Priest and Gunther going after each other and all that. But we could still maybe do a little bit more like stuff on the mic because I don't think Rhea really talked too much from what I saw. Um I don't know. I don't have too much to say. Again, like I had to catch most of this on Twitter because I had a storm going down in my hometown, and I almost thought I wasn't gonna have power for tonight. But yeah. But that's basically it for the build for Rhea and Liv. I mean, you had mentioned that Liv you think Liv's gonna retain, and I'm kind of in the same boat, because again, like Liv just pretty much got the title. She's had a couple defenses, sure, but like nothing too big or drastic, and like this feud can go on for a while. So yeah, just let it cook, let it go on for a while, and let like the destruction of the Judgment Day keep going as like we're doing this slow burn, especially with Finn and Damian Priest and all that. Well, especially Finn with like everybody in the Judgment Day, because as we see with like this next segment with this next match and the build up for all that, like Finn is trying to take control of the Judgment Day and all that. But yeah, we'll just move on to our next segment then of how we got into like this main event match that we had of JD and Finn Balor versus Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. So earlier in the night, um, we had Rhea was basically rounding up the boys. She was like, look, mommy's back. I'm in control. Let's leave Jey Uso alone. Let's, focus on getting our gold back. Let's focus on being on top of Monday Night Raw. And Finn kind of oversteps his bounds a little bit, tries to like take lead, take command over everything by saying, like, look, we need to take care of this. We'll take care of this. And the boys go to find and beat up Jey Uso, which they do. But I think one thing I want to point out here is that at one point the the gang decided to break off. They decided to go into like two different uh teams where it's JD and Carlito going to look for Jay in another part of the arena while Finn and Dom try to look in another part. And like there's a point here where Finn like tells Dom to go like this like a different way, and like Finn disappears for like only like a couple minutes. So it's weird that like he had disappeared for a couple minutes. Dom runs into Liv for like a minute, and then Finn just comes back. I don't know, like how what do you think about this little part of this drop? Like with Finn basically like sending Dom away, he runs into Liv, and then immediately Finn comes back.
I think they're both working together, honestly. That's what I think it is, because they kind of made it obvious, especially with how that segment was set up. So I have a feeling the reason why they didn't show Liv crying before when she was out in the crowd is because they didn't want to make it obvious with what was going on. But I definitely feel like they're all working together because they're trying to get certain people out of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And you could obviously tell there's been tension brewing for quite some time now. I mean, that's how I personally took it. I think it's kind of
Yeah.
obvious. They're making it pretty obvious now.
Yeah. And also too, like earlier on when because they showed like the Judgment Day arriving at the arena, you had like Finn, JD, and Dom like almost in their own group. And then you had Rhea and Damian kind of behind them with Carlito and all that. Yeah, so it's just like, okay, the way they blocked it and all that, it's kind of like showing that okay, there could be two different groups going on, and two like that's going to be where the split is, or maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see with that story and all of that. But hey, splitting up seemed to help because JD and Carlito end up finding Jey Uso and beating him to smithereens, but he was saved by Sami Zayn. Hey, his best friend Sami Zayn. And we get a match, a non-title match, mind you, of JD McDonagh and Finn Balor versus uh Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Uh the match was great on all that. I mean, I love the entrance that Jay and Sammy had through the audience, through the crowd and all that, doing the yeet, doing the everything with Jay's music and all that. Uh, but yeah, I thought the match was fine. I'm part of me is kind of shocked that our tag champions lost in this. Like you would think, we would keep our tag champions strong, like at least looking strong and all that. But like they lost. I don't want to say cleanly because there's a lot of distraction and all that. But I don't know. Like I mean, again, the match is fine. I'm hoping this doesn't lead to like the Judgment Day losing the tag titles to Jay and Sammy. As cool as that would be, because like I would like them to hold on to the titles for a little bit longer. But yeah, Drop. What do you think of this main event match that we had between these two teams?
Um, it really wasn't much, to be honest. I mean, I'm kind of getting a little tired of like the typical Bron spearing towards the end. I mean, we saw that happen last week.
Yeah.
You got to start building more than just, oh, hey, here he is. He's going to spear you and then leave. I mean, come on. The way that the show closed like that, it's kind of a little, what's the best way to put it? It's kind of like anticlimactic.
In a way, yeah. I do have a criticism with it though. It's like, okay, Triple H, you might want to learn some better time management, because like it got to like about almost 2 minutes before the show ends, and we still don't have like a match finish. And then like within the last minute, we get the finish, and then Braun Breaker coming out. Like you barely get time for the celebration and all that afterwards. It's literally like, okay, got to do the closing segment, got to do the closing twist and turn and all that, like really quick, and then get right off. So yeah. But I thought the main event match was fine. I don't really have too many complaints because again, like
No,
the action was
either.
great and all that. Yeah, I mean that was pretty much our mainline story. I mean, see that's the thing about tonight's Raw. Like tonight's Raw was fine, and like a lot of stuff happened, but like there's a lot of just kind of basic stuff, like a lot of paint by number stuff that you kind of see a lot of going on. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one thinking that. What do you think, Drop?
No, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, a lot of things was just set up for SummerSlam, really. I mean, it's not really anything mind blowing that's like really getting thrown at me besides what we talked about earlier. I mean, I'm looking at our document right now, and like literally the last 3 matches, I know for a fact we're not going to have much to say.
Yeah,
This
and I feel
next one we're
bad.
going to get into is probably the most we're probably going to talk
Probably.
with the IC match, IC title
Yeah.
number 1 contender spot match.
And I kind of feel bad because like
Yeah.
it's not like I I don't want to say I don't care about the other ones, but like at least when you look at like the totem pole of things that I like and things that I am invested in, I think that's the better word is investment. My investment isn't really into the last three things that we'll talk about later
Oh
on.
yeah.
But
Even the
and I
Wyatt
mean,
6 stuff.
do what?
I said even the Wyatt 6 stuff tonight too.
Yeah, which I got a few words about that one, but
Yeah.
hey, you know what? We're talking about our mid card stories, so let's go ahead and dive into our mid card stories. And the one that we're mainly going to be talking about here is our IC title #1 contenders match between Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker. This was a barn burner. This was a pretty dang good match, and the fact that we got this on live TV just makes me so freaking happy because I'm a big Ilya Dragunov fan, you know,
Yeah, so am I.
especially oh yeah. So and I was kind of hoping this match didn't have like a conclusive finish, and I'm glad it didn't. I'm kind of glad it went the way it did because in a way it kind of protects Dragunov, and it also builds up Braun Breaker too. It builds him up to be like this big powerhouse and all that. But like a very physical fight from start to finish, especially like when they were on the apron before the first commercial break, and like Braun Breaker dropped Ilya Dragunov like onto the turnbuckle. Did you see how Dragunov like fell to the floor too?
Yeah, I know. I saw that too. That was rough.
Yeah, dude. It was that's the thing about Dragunov. He is a seller. He sells his ass off every single match. But talk to me a little bit about this match. Cuz like I can't be the only one that's like just fanboying over this one cuz like Ilya looked great, Braun looked great, and again like I was a fan of the finish just cuz again like in a way it protects both of them cuz not like Ilya's not suffering another pinfall loss, but Braun is still looking like an absolute monster.
Um,
But yeah.
my overall thoughts on this, really, I mean, I've seen them put on a lot of good matches before, especially in NXT. So I already know when these two get in the ring together, even like we saw on the main roster, they always deliver a good match. So I'm not really surprised with that. But it was very physical, and I liked how it was showcasing Ilya. So more fans can get invested in him, and then more fans can get invested in Braun, which is probably the best thing that this match really did, was just
Mhm.
showcase both of these guys just to show everybody there what they're capable of. So I really like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of big spots in here. I mean, numerous spots. It's kind of hard to really count them all.
I know. Like it it, it man, just like I keep going back to like some of the apron because they were on the apron for a lot of this match.
Hmm.
And I mean, Ilya, like, I mean, he basically gave him an AA onto the ring apron and all that. And uh like the way Braun sold that too was beautiful. Like he just kind of fell to his knees to the outside of the ring and all that. And I don't know, man. Like, yeah, we could go blow for this, but like, oh my gosh, it was just I highly recommend just going to watch this, because again, like the physicality, it was there. It was, hard hitting the whole time. And again, like because a lot of people I think wanted the triple threat. I know I was expecting the triple threat. I really wanted the triple threat, but I'm also fine with Braun Breaker getting another, singles match and all that. And apparently, like the rumors or what the dirty sheets were saying was that they wanted to put the title on. They do want to put the title on Braun, I think, but they didn't want to do it at at Money in the Bank or like a B pay per view, which is kind of odd considering that you're kind of lessening your B shows and all that uh by doing something like that. But I mean, I get it though. You want the bigger stage, you want a bigger crowd and all that for like a crowning moment like that. But I don't know, man. Why even have that booked in the first place, anyways? Um, yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I don't really have. I wanted to talk more about this, but it's like, what do I even do? Okay, no. There was a good part because I remember mentioning this during like our minute Money in the Bank talks, like leading up to it. I remember mentioning that. Okay, I'm hoping that Braun lost because like he was being overzealous or that he was like being too much of a he was being too gung ho or whatever terminology you want to use. And in a way, I'm kind of getting that because so in this match, we get this one spot where it's like this the superplex into an H bomb. Beautiful combo, first of all, by Ilya. But Braun starts rolling out of the ring. And it's like, okay, Braun's using his mind now. He's thinking. He learned it, as Ralph Wiggum would once say. Um, but again, that's showing that he's thinking a little bit more. And we saw with Sami Zayn later on having a backstage segment. One of the things he said was, don't make the same mistake you made at Money in the Bank by underestimating Sami Zayn, by being too overconfident. Because what was it? Who was it? It was Luke Skywalker who said it to freaking what's his face? Palpatine. He was just like, your overconfidence is your weakness. Like that's Braun Breaker. That's Braun Breaker's character right there. At least against Sami Zayn, where it's like, okay, you underestimate me, you're gonna die. You're gonna get taken out and all that. But uh I'm hoping that that Braun learned from all that. And it seems like he has. Like it seems like he's, moving forward with his own progress, as it will, as a competitor, as an in-ring wrestler, and all that other mumbo jumbo you want to throw off. But yep, so the match gets waved off because like Dragunov, he goes. So while Braun's out there, it like outside of the ring and all that, Ilya goes onto the apron, and it seems like he's about to do an H bomb, to the outside onto Braun Breaker and all that, but he doesn't he's not able to because Braun gets up, with this midair spear, which also looked pretty good, but apparently Dragunov's head hit hard on the apron, and that like takes him out of the match. Now, at first I was like, oh shoot, I hope he's okay, which I do still think hope he's okay, and I hope this was just part of the story and all that. But when they showed the replay, I did kind of see that okay, he wasn't like I didn't really see his head really bounce from the apron and all that. But the match gets waved off and Braun Breaker's announced as the winner. But yeah, but Drop, how'd you feel about like the finish of this match? Like how'd you feel like just as the finish of this match, how'd you feel it went? Like what were your thoughts on it?
I'm glad he didn't get pinned. I mean,
Yeah.
that was my worry. And if he got involved in this rumored triple threat match at SummerSlam, I kind of expected him to take the pin anyway because they probably wanted Sami to look strong and not take a pin.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he still looked strong because at least it showed that you had to beat him to a pulp in order for him to like not continue anymore. So at least it shows the people that he actually has a lot of strength in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like
Yeah.
I'm completely okay with the match. I'm also pretty sure he's okay. He's just mainly working it because he always works stuff a lot. Even if it's just a spear, you see clips of him just like limping backstage. I'm pretty sure he's fine.
Oh yeah. And yeah, and like I said, with like the replay and all that, it's just like okay, I didn't really see his head really connect too much with the apron, so it was probably just part of of the match, and the finish and all that. So I'm cool with it, because again, in a way it protects Dragunov and all that. But I don't know, do you have anything else to say about this match?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, we will move on to uh
Yeah, no,
uh
these last
our
three
next
are
our
gonna
next
be.
few matches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get my thoughts on this.
Well,
Um,
especially this next one with your girl Lyra.
mhm,
First of all, I do have a question for you because I don't know
yeah.
if we talked about it last week or not. How do you feel about Lyra teaming up with the Cali girls right now?
Um, See, I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. Like, if she's doing something that makes her happy, I'm completely okay
Hmm.
with that. Like, I'm not gonna say that I'm like pissed that she's doing this. But the only thing I will say is it kind of seems like there really isn't anything else for her to really involve herself in, because you have Liv and Rhea feuding, and then you also have Bailey and Nia feuding. So obviously she wouldn't be on SmackDown. So it's like there's not really that much for her to get involved. And I feel like one of the main reasons why we're seeing this is
Hmm.
because I'm pretty sure if Becky was still around, she probably would be getting involved with her somehow. And at least with Becky being there, it would probably help her stand out a little bit more on the show. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that in a bad way, but it seems like they were really trying to build something with Lyra and Becky. But then, of course, Becky's on her little vacation, her vacation right
Hmm.
now, which is perfectly fine. We know she's eventually coming back, but I mean, like I mentioned before, like when it comes to like these last three matches, I'm not really invested. Like even what you included right here in the notes give me a reason to like this new team of Zoey, Shayna, and Sonya. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you could honestly spin that on
Hmm.
Lyra and with Katana Chance and Kate and well the Cali girls that you said,
Yeah.
like you haven't really gave us like a legitimate reason to actually care about them.
Yeah.
And like
Like.
that's the thing, because when it gets to like certain points like this within the show, especially during the women's division, and they're trying to create all these different kinds of factions and tag teams,
Hmm.
it's kind of hard to get invested in them because for the most part they're just thrown together just for the hell of it. There is
Yeah.
no legitimate reason why this is happening. So
y-
to like give you like an answer for that, I mean, it's kind of hard to really say like how I personally feel about this situation. I honestly feel like it's just a way to put her on TV, if that makes any sense.
hmm.
So at least she's not like off TV doing something else, or she's at like main event before the show airs. Like at least it shows that she's still involved in the show, so she matters. I just
Yeah.
don't know where this is going. And like same thing with the whole um that definitely I want to give thoughts on this. The whole team of Zoey, Shayna, and Sonya. Cool. They're trying to form a little faction. And I
Hmm.
realize Sonya is getting involved because she really wants to help push Zoey and Shayna. But at the same time, you're not giving me a legitimate reason to care.
Yeah.
And when it comes to at least Lyra and the Cali girls, at least there's more of a reason to actually care about them, because with Zoe, Shayna, and Sonya, I mean Zoe and Shayna have just been ice cold for so long, and
Hmm.
just because you throw in Sonya in there doesn't mean things are gonna change right away. Like just
Yeah.
because you throw her in here doesn't mean like, oh, okay, we care about them again. We're always excited to see them on TV. Like, what's their goals? Like, is it always the tag team titles, or a better narrative I would like them to focus on is actually finding out what they're truly capable of, which I feel like that's probably the direction they're currently going down with this whole storyline with the faction. But I'd rather them
Hmm.
focus on that first and going through these different tag teams before they decide to focus on the tag team titles again.
Yeah.
Like
And
just
and I mean that and that's the thing. It's just like, yeah, yeah, I say, give me a reason to, like this new team up and all that stuff, but like I know it's like super early on in their formation and all that, but it's like, even with like the backstage segments you could have done and like some of the talking they could have done backstage too, like it could have you could have done a little bit more to kind of build it a little bit, but like again, we're in this Triple H era where like, okay, we're doing this slow build right now with everything basically, and it's like, okay, well, maybe some things don't need a slow build. Maybe give us a little bit more with everything. I don't know, but I mean, the match itself was fine. I know in our notes I said I have this thing about like stop dancing. Um, but that's something that like my wrestling coaches would say in like during practices and all that, or
Yeah.
like if we were doing like a match, at practice or anything, like you would get in that collar, like tie up and all that, and like you're just kind of walking around, just holding somebody like this and all that. They would say, "Hey, stop tap dancing or whatever," and that's kind of the thing. It's just like, okay, like stop just kind of moving around like that. Stop just like flopping on each other and like actually do something. Actually, like compete for the match. Actually, try to like win. Go for a double leg or a single leg or something. And like when they started off with that lockup, like they were in it for quite a while, and I'm like,
Yeah.
let's move on. Let's move on. Um, Lyra's dive looked kind of rough, like before the commercial break. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I know. I saw a couple spots in there I was a little concerned about. And
Yeah,
also
like
the other thing I noticed you put here about the whole let go thing. When was that? I must have missed that.
which one? Oh, so okay, you'll have to look this up on Twitter. Um,
I'll
so
actually look it up now as you're talking.
so it was a spot where Lyra, she tries to go for like this gut wrench thing, and like Sonya was kind of holding on to her, and like her arm was like behind Lyra's, and like you can hear Lyra saying, let go." And that's when, like, as soon as Sonya lets go, she gets her up for like that power bomb or whatever it was.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait, wait. Oh,
yeah,
no, I understand it now. So I looked at it and she's doing a gut wrench. And at first, when I saw you put that in the notes, and I also want to say before, you guys probably seen me throughout the show have my mic muted and stuff. It's just because I was trying to help out my cousin with what he's currently
yeah.
going through. So if that's what you guys were wondering about, not gonna get into that because that's personal stuff.
Of
But
course.
I was really confused what you meant by that at first because I thought it was like something where she was getting her hair pulled on or something like that. But after watching the clip, it seems like Sonya wasn't following the script or something.
Yeah.
You know
Which
how
I
they call
mean,
spots in matches?
yeah. Which I mean, kind of fair because like she's been gone for like 9 months, so like there's probably some ring rust in there. Uh, I mean, I'm glad she's back. I'm glad she healed up fine, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, there might be a little bit of ring rust right there. But I heard her be like, "Let go." I'm like, oh no, oh no, Sonya, you're supposed to be the veteran in this situation. Oh no. But I mean, of
I just
course,
saw
distractions happen.
I
So
just saw a comment on that. Someone says a rookie telling someone that's been on the roster a decade, uh, damn near what to do.
yeah. Oh, sad. Which is sad because like I do like Sonya Deville. Like
I
I
do
do
too. I
like
have
her.
nothing against her,
Yeah. Like
but
if anything, I want her on TV more so she can like get more reps in like that.
yeah. But it's like I can understand in a way because I'm pretty sure they rehearse a lot of these things before the show goes on air, so they know what they're doing when they go before they go out in the ring. I know that's something that's probably a very common thing. Like
Hmm.
they're either in the back rehearsing their lines, that they're going out and they're rehearsing what they're going to do or whatever. So I'm pretty sure this is a thing that they study, almost like you're studying for a test and you eventually take the test. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
this is a thing that they normally do where they're studying so they know what to do and they have to choreograph it the correct way. And I feel like, um, I don't know, to me, it seems like Lyra was a little frustrated because,
Yeah.
Sonya wasn't following through with what they were doing.
Well, that and like she was kind of working stiff too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of Sonya's strikes were very stiff tonight. Like some of her kicks, and some of her like throws were kind of stiff too. But again, I can part of me can kind of chalk that up under like just ring rust and mainly ring rust with like a crowd around, because like it's one thing to practice things without anybody being around or like having coaches around or anything, but like to have the live crowd there and to like to play off them too, like it takes a bit of time. It's like when you take an extended break from like doing content, for example. It's like, okay, it's going to take a little bit of time to like get back into the groove of things, like, oh, trying to record the video, edit the video, like getting back into that routine that you used to have like a month ago, if you
I
took a
can
break
relate
like
to
that.
that too, because
Oh, same here.
I remember before I started this new channel, I stopped doing YouTube for like 5 years. I think no, it was 4 years. I stopped doing YouTube for 4 years. So when I turned the camera on, it took some time to adjust to it. Actually, I actually maybe not entirely, because I've been doing like content ever since I was like a young kid. I was just posting videos, like whatever I was recording with my phone. Like I was watching regular show, I just record a quote from there, and then or whatever it is. But it's like one of those things where it's like you haven't done something for so long and you're trying to get into the groove again, and then the more you do it, you start adjusting to it again, so everything becomes natural.
Hmm.
Because especially like when you like the reason why me and Whawkins were talking this is because it's a very relatable experience, especially as content creators. Because when it comes to things where you're like, let's say you're out of the YouTube game for like quite some time, and then you jump back in, it's gonna get hard. It's like, okay, how do I set up the camera properly? Where do I
Yep.
get like the best lighting? What do I talk about so I'm not looking clueless when I'm on what I'm like recording? Like I'm not
Hmm.
stopping like every 2 to 3 seconds because I'm stumbling on my words or whatever the case may be. Like it's definitely a relatable thing. So I can definitely understand that.
Yeah. Um, but hey, with all the distractions going on and all the fights breaking out, and one finisher later from Sonya Deville, and that's basically the win. And thanks for the distraction, girls. You're doing your part as a team, and again, like we said earlier, like, yes, give us a reason to be invested in this team up, and
Mhm.
it's still the early stages, but let's have just like a few more big victories like that, and we'll keep things going. But that's not the last we saw of all of these women. No, 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 because Zelina Vega has some revenge to get on with these ladies, because they kind of got in her way last week and injured her arm, which was heavily taped up. So we had Zelina Vega versus Zoe Stark, which match was fine. Like,
Yeah.
it was fine, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard because like Zoe Stark, I feel like uh, she's solid in the ring,
Yeah.
like she's solid,
That's
it's like,
definitely her strength. I'll say that.
hmm, yeah, she is, yeah, her strength is in the ring, yes, but it's like, I don't know what to say, like,
It's
I
kind of
feel
really
bad.
hard. It's kind of really
Hmm.
hard to say. Like the reason why it's sometimes hard to like say something about these certain matches on TV is because sometimes it just feels like they're just thrown in there for TV time, like that filler. Like if you're
Hmm.
watching an anime, you get that filler. This is kind of the filler that you're watching within WWE,
Yeah.
where it's like you have those filler matches that are just thrown in there, not really much to say.
Hmm.
And that's just how it is with this match. I mean, I can't really come up with like a theory of like what sort of direction I expect this to go down. Like I'm writing a script for a video and I'm telling you exactly the whole um the whole meaning behind Zelina Vega versus Zoe Stark. Like we're trying to figure out like if there's any history over the years that set back 50 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Like really isn't anything to say when it comes to stuff like this, because it just feels like, okay, like why is this happening? Like we get why
Hmm.
it's happening because of what happened previously, but what is the end result? And that's like one of the main things I can say about these matches is that some of these matches have an end result and we know where it's going. And then we have these other matches that are just there and it's not really showing us like, okay, what is the payoff? Because there should be proper payoff for each of these storylines that we're watching within the week. I understand not everything's going to be 100% perfect, but there should be some payoff when it comes to these sort of matches, especially if you're trying to push somebody like Zelina Vega, which even her herself has said that she's been wanting to get pushed a lot more and she wants to
Mhm.
be utilized as a top talent in these matches, which they definitely need because if Rhea never came back, who was Liv really working with in the main event scene? There really wasn't anybody there that could really step in. Maybe Lyra could. Maybe they would have continued the whole Zelina thing, and then you could have Zelina in the spotlight for a little bit longer. But it's like, what's the payoff for Zelina here? Because I think this is what the story they're telling right now. Because it doesn't really seem like she's doing anything with LWO right now. It's just
Mhm.
mainly like a solo act of herself trying to push her more as a singles competitor. So I guess if you want to say something out of this, you could say that. Where does this go for her as a singles competitor? Like, what's her payoff? What is she gonna get at the end of this? Is she gonna get another title opportunity? Is something else gonna be getting thrown in her way? Like, what's really happening here?
Yeah. Also, what's up, Rome? How you doing? I see you over there on the Twitch machine. Hopefully you're having a good night, dude. Yeah. No, I kind of see that too. It's just like, well, especially with LWO, because like, well, what's Dragon Lee doing for one? Like, I guess I have to do some research to see if he's injured or anything. Because I don't think he is. I don't remember seeing anything. Then there's whatever Ray's doing, which I mean he is sporadic anyways because I mean he's a freaking legend, so he shouldn't have to be on every show and all that. And the other two I know are injured, so or I'm pretty sure they're injured. I think the one guy actually was on like main event the other night. Um, yeah, so it's just like what are the LWO doing anyways? And I guess where this could be leading, I mean, it's another win for Zelina, so it's just like, okay, maybe she uh maybe this could just be another win for her to like get back into a title picture after all this. But like I mean, then you look at the women's title picture on Raw, and it's just like, well, where does Zelina even fit in all that? Because I mean, she's already had like multiple chances at the title, against the people that are going for the title right now. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, where does she go after all this? Like, where does she go just moving forward? And like, I
Yeah.
kind of like what you said here about like filler, because like immediately it made me think of like Naruto filler, especially part one Naruto filler, because it's like, okay, yeah, we'll bring back the what's his name, like Mizuki from episode one. We'll bring
Oh,
him
I can't
back.
even remember.
Yeah, we'll bring him back, and oh look, he could turn into a tiger now. Ooh, he's a threat now. Just like, okay, you're bringing him back. Does he do anything more with it? No, no. But it's cool to see him, right? It's like, I mean, cool. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of what this match in particular was like. Because it's like, okay, you're doing some sort of story progression because like you did have Lyra and the Cali girls come out for distraction and all that to kind of help Zelina get the win over Zoey. Uh, so you're at least pushing that story, but it's like, okay, well, how does this benefit Zelina Vega in the long run?
Mhm.
And yeah, and I mean I've seen her campaigning too. I mean I've been on the campaign trail for Zelina because I she's another one I like too, like on the women's roster. And I mean, she keeps getting better too. She keeps improving. So I hope she continues to improve and all that. But I mean, the main thing with this match, I think, was just to solidify that 6-woman tag we're getting next week, you know?
Yeah, that's all
But
it really was.
yeah, that's really all it was. But again, Zelina using the brace on her arm, assisting for the win. Cool, awesome, great. Love to see it. But hopefully more for you later on down the road. But from one lady doing something to another one that's kind of doing something, we had some Wyatt 6 stuff tonight. And this Wyatt 6 stuff was dealing with our good old Nikki Cross. Um, Not much for this video segment because it was really just Nikki staring off into space. And like, a voiceover saying how she's like been used and abused, and like there's a part where like she cries and screams, and not gonna lie, kind of hurt my ears. Uh,
No, it did. It hurt mine too.
yeah, like um, I don't know, man. Like as much as I liked it, because I know like way back when I had said, oh, it'd be cool if we got like these VHS segments for everybody of the Wyatt Six, and it looks like we're getting that, which cool, great. Like introduce the characters, let me know a little bit more about them, but I was kind of hoping Nikki's would have a little bit more to it.
Yeah, that's my issue with it because it was mentioning, like you said, how she was getting used and abused. Like, okay, elaborate on that so the audience knows what happened to her that brought her to Uncle Howdy so she could have a family that accepts her. Like, what happened in that very moment that drew her to become the person that she is. And it doesn't have to be in explicit details or anything, but there has to be reasonings like we saw with Eric Rowan and Bo Dallas for why they're here in this
Hmm.
faction. And I'm hoping next week they do another video on Nikki and don't just skip over to Dexter Loomis or Joe Gacy. Like, I'm hoping there's like some legitimate reason of why she's there, because that's what matters when you're telling a lot of stories, especially when it comes to different mediums that you're into. Like if you're watching a movie or you're watching a TV show, you get introduced to all these different kinds of characters and you want to learn more about them so you can get invested more into their
Yeah.
characters. And they did a good job with Bo Dallas and they did a good job with Eric Rowan. So I'm hoping they do the exact same thing with Nikki Cross so we can know the why out of what's going on of her. Leaving
Hmm.
that blank and not really elaborating on that as much is just going to keep a lot of people just confused and not really know why she's there. Because I know they can come up with something creative that could get people really invested because this could do wonders for her. Like, this is a new thing that she's walking into, and you never know where the Wyatt Six is going to be months from now. Like, it could be one of the best storytelling that we get when we're watching a Monday Night Raw, kind of like how we have with Bloodline on Friday, or what's currently going on of like Liv and Rhea. Stories that we get invested in each and every single week. So that's what so I do agree with you with that. I'm honestly hoping that they throw something a little bit more in there because I kind of feel like there's just more. It can't just be her screaming and then that's it. Like, obviously, I
Hmm.
mean, if you want to portray her that way, okay, fine. But just looking at my overall first impressions of it, I would like a little more than just that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we could still get more too. Like they could do like a part two of it, which I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
mind it
mind like a
either.
part two of hers.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm really hoping for like a part two. Because again, like I want to know the why. Because like especially with like the ones like Nikki Cross and like Dexter Loomis and all that shit. Like I want to know why they are, because like it makes sense for Eric Rowan, makes sense for Bo Dallas and all that, but like
Hmm.
why did the others join? Like was it because like, and I mean you kind of get it already with like what Bo said the other week with like, oh, they are they were lost souls, and like I took them in, part of my family and all that stuff. It's like, okay, I get that part of the story, I understand that, but it's like I want to hear it from them though, you know what I mean? Oh man. But we'll touch more with the Wyatt Six stuff actually here in a second, because with our last and final match of the night that we'll talk about, we had Otis and Tozawa helping out Xavier Woods with his final testament problem. And you know what? This was a good match. You know what? I liked this match because Tozawa and Otis, they seem to be really into it. They seem to be getting to um getting into the action, starting to like kind of perk up a little bit after leaving Gable and all that. And not gonna lie, kind of wish them and Woods got the win tonight, but that might just be me though.
No,
Um, yeah.
no, trust me, I understand where you're coming from, and this is like another thing that I'm really curious to learn what the payoff is with this,
Hmm.
because this has been an ongoing thing for, I would have to say, at least a month now. And
Yeah.
they said Kofi's currently injured.
I mean, in storyline, I think I don't know if he's
Okay, in story,
actually injured or not.
okay, it's storyline wise. Okay,
I
so
think, yeah.
my question for this is, where does this leave Woods? Like, what's Woods'
Hmm.
payoff with this? Because one of the only things I do know about Cross is that there's always something that changes the people that he's feuding with, because we've seen it with Shinsuke, we've seen it with Drew McIntyre, we've seen it with Rey Mysterio. If you want to go back and look at that, you could probably find videos online when he feuded with them, and then you look at how Drew and Ray and everybody else that Cross feuded with, you can definitely see the kind of people that they are now, because a lot of the things that he told with those tarot cards ended up becoming true. So I'm curious to see, like, okay, how is this going to change Woods? Like, what sort of direction is this going
Hmm.
to leave Woods down? Because I feel like this is the whole because I feel like this is the main reason why he's targeting Woods, because he's trying to bring something out of him that Woods himself isn't, like, really aware of.
Yeah. And see, that's what I kind of like about this feud. I mean, say what you want about like Karrion Cross and all that, but like at least with him, he tries to bring out the worst in people, like in the best ways. So it's like, especially what we saw with Woods, especially near the end of this match, where like he went pretty hard on Karrion Cross. Like he was like beating him up in the corner and all that. Like he was like kicking him, punching him, like super kicking. I think it was Akam. He super kicked Akam off
Mm-hmm.
the like the apron and all that. Like Woods showed an intensity that he hadn't shown in quite a while, and it was because of Karrion Cross. So it's like, okay, what? Good on you, Woods. Good on you. Unfortunately, it didn't lead to a victory and all that, but it's like, okay, you know what? You showed some promise, kid. And I kind of feel bad because not only was it Tozawa's birthday, but they were kind of in Otis's home state. So it's like, oh no, you're both losing. Oh no. I feel bad. Feel bad for both of you guys. But
Mm.
that wasn't the end of this segment though, because Chad Gable came out at the end of the match and he started to talk some shit. Started talking some shit on his former peoples, but unfortunately, this is when my satellite cut out for a bit, so I unfortunately didn't get to see much of what Chad said. But I'm assuming you did. So what all did Chad say before the Wyatt Six came out?
Um, the only thing I remember is that he was getting in. Oh, okay. Now I remember. He was pretty much trying to say that Otis still needs his help and everybody else there still needs his help, and he was trying to persuade Otis to come back to him, and then Otis said no, and then that's when they were starting to get physical, and then that's when the Wyatt Six came.
Okay, all right. So not too much then, I guess, because yeah, again, Wyatt Six came out, and I did see this clip though of Uncle Howdy giving his sister Abigail to Chad, which Sister Abigail looked pretty good. That like the move, I mean the move itself always looked pretty good. I almost said no matter who did it, but I guess some people really weren't that good at it. Um I don't know, but like Bose really looked good though, at least from what I thought.
I
Now, oh yeah, go
good
ahead.
sell, good
Yeah,
sell.
yeah, oh yeah, especially that. But where do you think this is gonna be leading to though? Like,
I would assume it would probably be a feud between the new Alpha Academy versus old Alpha Academy.
hmm,
Not really sure what
okay.
the end result of that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's with, Otis and Tozawa. I mean, see, I'm torn because like the good guy in me wants the good guys to win. I want them to succeed and to like overcome adversity and all that stuff. But then I look at the other side, I'm like, oh, but the Creed brothers, like they could really go with get with a win and all that.
Mhm.
Um like they could really use the win and everything. But I don't know. I mean, I could see it, and obviously it should end with the Alpha Academy like getting some sort of one up on Chad. I don't know how Wyatt Six is gonna fit into this because I don't know if they're gonna like feed on the Creed brothers and Chad Gable and everything. Um, I don't know, man. Like, because I don't want that either. I don't want the Creed brothers to just be fed to the Wyatts because the Creed brothers mean a lot more than than
Yeah, you would
yeah.
think this right here would actually be something to actually put some spotlight on them, because ever since they came up in the main
Mhm.
roster and they had those first couple of matches when they got that title opportunity against Judgment Day, they haven't really been doing much ever
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like they are some good workers. Like they can put on some amazing matches, and yet, for one, we're not getting them booked on the shows and all that, or at least to wrestle and all that. Hell, I don't. When was the last time they had a match on Raw?
I couldn't even tell you. They just been in the background for the most part. Especially,
Yeah.
I think they were just mainly in the background, just building up to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, again, I don't want the Creeds to be fed to it because they're a really good team, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I just want them to succeed. That's all. That's it. I just want my favorite people to succeed. And I mean, we're slowly moving to that, and we're slowly moving to whatever the Wyatt Six is going to be doing. Which I think the only fear I have with the Wyatt Six, and it was a fear that I had when Bray came back, because like as
Oh,
as oh, go ahead.
I don't know. I think I know what you're talking about, but I'll let you continue on.
Oh yeah, okay, because like okay, I love the slow builds. I do. I really do. But I think with Bray, it was a weird one because it's like we didn't really go too far in the amount of time that we had with
Hmm.
Bray. Um
Yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah, so it's just like okay, why sorry, one second. Um
Oh, that's fine.
why why do we have to why do we have to take so long with the Bray stuff, with like everything that they do? Because like on one hand it's really great stuff, like it's really captivating things, like when I was getting back into wrestling, like back in 2015, Bray Wyatt was one of those characters that like I gravitated towards for certain reasons, because
Hmm.
again, like he has very good charisma on the mic, great charisma in the ring, great work in the ring too, but like he was never booked to win more feuds than he probably should have. And when he came back, as the Fiend, things were great until, the Fiend got the Universal title. And then things started going downhill after that. And then when he came back after that, like he was doing interesting stuff. But then, like, the segments he was having after he came back were like maybe a couple minutes at best. And like they
Mm.
started kind of meandering a bit. Like, he finally had his first match, against LA Knight at that Royal Rumble, in that Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, which it was fun. It was fun for a bit, but like it was also kind of like, if that makes sense. But like we we spent so much time building it up that it ultimately almost didn't go anywhere, and unfortunately it couldn't go anywhere because of the circumstances that happened. But it's like, okay, let's try. I and I'm hoping for this time around that they try a little bit harder to like keep our investment going, because like we're starting to reach that point, and I think we were kind of hinting at this with like the Nikki Cross video, and I forgot who I was. I was either listening to somebody or read something about it. But last week's segment, I think I read something about it. Last week's segment, apparently the crowd reaction wasn't as big as you would think it was, like at least like in the stadium or the arena or whatever. And like, oh, I remember what it was. I was reading a tweet from Bully Ray. It was from his like the what I forgot the name of his podcast right now, but he had said something on his podcast about like, okay, they barely had like a shoot, words are escaping me right now. I'm sorry, folks. Um the crowd reaction like in the arena, it wasn't as big as it should have been, and it uh kind of made Bully Ray kind of fear a little bit for the thing going forward, for the story going forward. Because like, okay, if people are starting to tune out now, then they need to do something in order to keep the investment going, in order to keep us within the story and all that. And I after tonight, I can kind of see that sentiment. I can kind of see, that argument going forward. So, um, I don't know. What do you think about that part, Rob?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's something to kind of think about because, like, okay, do I how harsh should I be? Because it's like, okay, on one hand, Bray just yeah, I'm sorry, it's been a day, so we'll just leave it with that. But just what do you think about like just the Wyatt Six stuff? At least going forward at this point.
Well, like the main thing I'm honestly just hoping to get out of this, like I mentioned earlier, with the Nikki Cross stuff, I just mainly want to be more invested in the group, and I want each
Hmm.
character to be established. That way, I know why they're there and why they're lined up with this. That's all
Hmm.
I'm really asking for. And one of the things that you also have to realize is that they eventually need to get physical in the ring. They can't just be this special attraction where they're appearing every so often like this supernatural being. Like they eventually have to get in the ring and have matches.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of curious to see when that's going to happen because that's
Yeah.
something that definitely needs to be put out there, especially with all the stuff that's going on with Gable, because we obviously know why they're targeting Gable because of the whole family thing and mistreating Otis and stuff like that. Like we saw in the vignette a couple weeks ago when it showed a scene when Gable was getting Otis's face. So I'm just
Oh yeah.
hoping that they just get more fleshed out. We can actually see them get physical in the ring. 'Cause sure, you can have that special entrance every so often, but you got to get physical at some point.
Yeah, like, because that's the thing, they don't even have a match scheduled for SummerSlam or even for Raw next week. Like, they don't even have something scheduled for Raw. Just, the videotape stuff and all that stuff. Because again, it's been fine, but yeah, like you said, we might have to start getting a little bit more physical and start having the bell ring for an actual match coming soon. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on it too much because like we're still in the building stages, but I do want to see like where we're going moving forward. But I mean, other than that, I mean, that was pretty much Raw. Like overall thought, I guess. I mean, again, it was fine. It was a fine show, but like we have another week until SummerSlam, at least a week from Saturday and all that. We have one more Raw until SummerSlam, which like we have a couple matches lined up for next week. We got a segment with like Rollins giving the referee rules or whatever for the CM Punk Drew McIntyre match. Um I don't know, like again, I thought it was a fine Raw. I thought it was all right. What did you think about Raw overall?
Mainly, it was just more set up for SummerSlam. That's all it really was. The
Mhm.
only things that really stood out to me before was pretty much what we jumped into when we started when we started the show, the CM Punk
Mhm.
stuff, the Gunther and Priest feud, Rhea and Liv, just mainly like the segments that we really tune into the most on Raw is what really stuck out to me. Everything else was like filler,
Yeah.
and with that whole Rollins rules things that week. I really don't see the point of that because we all know there's no rules.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not going to be many rules
No.
in that match. Like let's be honest, that's going to be that's just that's just going to be anarchy. That's just going to be an anarchy match. Like
Pretty
no
much.
rules, just do what you want, just beat each other up and all that. So, yeah. Um oh man. Yeah, I mean that's Raw. So I mean, everybody in the comments, or the chat, let us know how you thought Raw was. I know a little bit of a shorter show tonight, but I mean, not too much terribly to talk about or like dive into or theorize about. Again, a lot of the stuff like Punk coming back, finally being cleared, everything to go with the Judgment Day. I mean, again, I think we're moving to SummerSlam having. I think SummerSlam is going to be big. I think a lot of big things are going to happen there, and we're
Mhm.
just we're doing a tiny build to it. Like it's almost like the calm before the storm and all that. Oh man. But hey, hopefully you guys had a good evening because I know I did. I'm pretty sure Drop did as well. But if you did, hey, again, let us know down in the chat, down in the comments below. But if you want to talk to us about anything else, we do have a bunch of links down below, a link to, all of our socials, everyone on the Animal We Studio team, Anime Late League team as well. Those episodes come out on Thursdays at around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, whether it's live or pre-recorded. I think this week's episode is going to be pre-recorded, so stay tuned for that. Again, Drop's going to be dropping up. Drop's going to be dropping. um, he's going to have a video tomorrow about Kineticon, or this week about Kineticon. But either way, check out daily videos from Drop. Again, link in the description below. Link to my personal YouTube channel is also down there. I'm still re-uploading a bunch of stuff from the old channel, getting back into the algorithm and all that. Yeah, exactly. We like to talk about and express our thoughts and all that stuff, and we have other many interests and all that beyond wrestling. So again, check that out if you want to. But other than that, I'm just going to take some time to thank you for taking time out of your day or night or afternoon or whatever time of day it is. But just thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what I just said? We are known as Animal We Studio on all social media platforms. Just remember, that's we with a 3. Also, use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after our shows. Feedback is always appreciated as we are nothing without you tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by Animal We Studio. Thanks to our production team of Vash, Whawkins, DropThisBox, Rome, and Jokester, as well as special thanks to JB and Abe. Thank you for joining us, and remember, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good one.